Hi, and welcome to our first screencast on how to use the Secular Coalition for America state sites for state leaders. My name is Lauren Vandergrift, and first thing I'm going to do is show you guys how to sign up for an account, then how regular users of the site will be using your state pages, and finally some of the more administrative and higher level content features that you will be able to have as state leaders. So just to start, let's go to the sign up form in the upper right hand corner, and there's the disclaimer and the regular fields. Fill them out, and then you'll be sent an email verifying your account. And once you get logged in, then we'll continue our video off from there. All right, now that you've logged in, I just want to quickly show you the main admin screen for users. I encourage everybody to upload a photo because as leaders especially, it's good to kind of have that visual recognition, even though it's a tiny little thumbnail, but I'd encourage everybody to do that. I just did that here for my next photo. This is just a beta account, so it will look a little funny. Anyway, moving right along, I wanted to start by having you choose where your state site is. Generally speaking, you'll be going right to your state site. People won't see this side of things. This is more for the kind of global things that the state site's information combined, and that won't really be the case for most people. You'll be linking them either right from your state's URL, secularnorthcarolina.com or that kind of thing, or going right from the secular.org site to the state. So for today's purposes, I'm going to use North Carolina because that's one we've been kind of beta testing with, and we'll go from there. So right now, I'm logged in as a user of the site, just like anyone else. So I don't actually have the state editor privileges that you will all have eventually. So this is how other people will be dealing and interacting with the site. Later on, once you've played around a little bit, you can send an email to myself, Lauren, Loren, at secular.org, or to Kelly at secular.org, or to Lauren at secular.org, and we'll be glad to upgrade you. Hopefully they're okay with that. I'll make sure after, but that'll all be in the email. So anyway, here's the basic layout of the state pages, at least right now. Again, it's all changing and evolving, and this is just the beta. We're going to soft launch, and it will evolve over time. The basic sections are pretty self-explanatory. There's the home page, where we have a list of the main descriptions of what's happening, and then along the right we have things like state news. These are my great fake news stories, upcoming events, upcoming calls, past events, so you can play a lot of the recordings, because I know a big problem people have had is being able to get to the recordings of our previous calls. Recent activity, and again, all cite state news, and that's basically the general gist of the main page. The About page right now is the descriptions as well as the leadership of any given state. We will be adding and expanding to that, as well as making different subpages, and as people need, you'll be able to do all that in the future. The main area, community, where the bulk of the things that can be done by users, not state editors, but users, is in here. So we have the different tabs for the types of content that people, any random person, can make. Posts, like a regular blog post, you post your idea, you have threaded conversations, you can throw in images in there. Wikis, a wiki it's a little different than what you think of as Wikipedia. The only real similarity is that you add information and then other people can edit them, and it saves them in revisions, which I can show you guys in a minute. Documents, which is again like Post, but you can throw up a file. So the idea is that you can start to build sort of a document system and evolve things, which then we can make a resource or something. Question and answer, Q&A. Again, it's just more if you want to start to establish some information, ask questions and answers. It's more of a formalized discussion as opposed to just posts and comments. And lastly, polls, if you want to take a statewide poll and see where people fall on issues and things. All pretty self-explanatory. I will go through how to do a post, and the other ones I'll let you all play with because they're basically variants of the same. Again, you have title, the body formatting. This is it's almost like a little mini Microsoft Word if you've never played with it. So you can type things in there. You can bold text, italicize it, strike through, etc. Make lists, so where you can make a few lists and select them all, put in lists, all the kind of usual things you come to expect. This is a link, this little guy here, this little chain link looking icon, that lets you load in a link. So google.com, hit OK, and it's a link. If you want to add images, and where we fall on letting people put a lot of images into their files, people being the regular state users, we'll have to find depending on how people use it, because we don't want it to be abused. But as of now, we're okay with it. So I'm going to put in a picture of Len here, upload it up, and you pick the size you want to go in. Automatic, let's say, and there he is up there. You can drag him around. You can hit this image button here and align him left or right, not him, whatever photo. Add some horizontal, vertical space, whatever you want to do. That's something that is definitely will be there for you. We're debating on whether or not we're going to let everyone do that, at least off the bat. So lastly, the topics is here. It's sort of like tagging like you'd see on Facebook or something. We're not really going to do that too much for now. You're welcome to add topics or tags. Later on, we'll have more issues, and we're going to start to expand sort of the different ways with which we categorize content. But for now, it can just be whatever we want. It's free tag done by commas. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how the different community section will work for people. One thing I forgot to mention before is that the sections of the site all have an abuse thing, a report as inappropriate, because again, we want to make sure this is all productive time. We don't want this to turn into some sort of forum trolling situation. So at the bottom of any given post or wiki is a report as inappropriate button. So if your report is inappropriate, you will flag that piece of content that then you guys as the secular editors will be able to go and either take action against, unpublish, that kind of thing. So the other things here are this little button here is following. So if you want to follow a piece of commentary or a piece of content as it develops, it'll notify you via email. The plus button is like a liking system, much like Facebook. And then this little guy here is the sharing, to share across all the different social media. So commenting, again, it's all threaded, so you can reply both to a person's comment or directly to the whole thread. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that, and if not, we can go more into depth with that later. So something I wanted to show you really quickly before we got into the leadership side of editing and changing things is the state news pages, which is articles for each given state site that are added by you, the leadership, or by secular people, and the various regular members won't be able to add it, but they'll be able to see it. And the idea is that they're kind of more formal. They're news items about the state. We're going to have images. There'll be a set of stock images, or if you're feeling very artistic, you can go ahead and add your own. And we will have these on the site, and the idea is this will kind of let you really separate and look different than the other sites, because a lot of the news happening in the States are at very different places. So we'll get more into adding them later, but I just wanted to throw that out to you for the moment. So the other thing I want to show you quickly is the pages for actual users. So say you like what someone's doing in either another state or anywhere else, you can actually go to their page, see information about them, and follow them and get, I'm following myself, it's a little meta, but you get information about their updates as they're adding content. So that's just something to keep in mind of. We're able to follow each other and be followed, and that's something that is pretty basic for now, but again, over time, as we evolve features and things, it could be pretty powerful. So next up, we are going to go into the features that you yourself get as a state leader. So as I said earlier, you have to get approval for that. So I'm going to go ahead and give this account that added benefit, and then we'll go into the more advanced features of being a state leader. Alright, so here we are at the state page now with the upgrade of state editor, and you can see things are basically the same except that you have these other few options here: administer group, edit, group content, and reported content. So I will start here. The administer group section is currently just a way to kind of see the users, add members, see people. It's pretty basic for right now, but that will be evolving over time. You can see the people who have contributed, what their roles are. You can give them new roles, so if you want to make them a state editor, which we would have to get approval first, but all of that is done in here. Then edit is where you edit the main view of that, the content that's on that first homepage when you come to the state site. You add, if you have your state Twitter we may have forgotten or you don't have it yet, you can create one and put it in there. You edit just some of the basic things, adding this group logo. We've already done all that, but all different options for you to be able to edit and keep up to date as the state site evolves. Next tab is group content. This is more just so there could be bulk editing, so it's not so much for it's similar to reported content, but it just sort of has everything. So you can, as an admin, get the kind of over the view look of things, kind of get an idea of what's happening within your given state. You can publish, delete, unpublished content. It's similar to reported content, but I thought it'd be a good place to have a general overview of the various aspects of the state site and as they're happening. And lastly, reported content. Now this is where when people report content, like I reported my test post from earlier, you'll see and it'll have a number of reports. So I'm not sure how people will end up using this. It might be that the first time you get a report, it's pretty bad and we should be strict about it. Or it might be that somebody doesn't like that you used a photo of a Bible or something. It might not be as extreme in either direction. But the options that we have set up for you as a reaction is to either delete the content and block the author's account. That's a pretty extreme thing. I would say, Kelly and other people will set various lines, and you can have your general lines of the ethical line that we hit. But I think any sort of hate speech and that kind of thing, obviously, should just the person should just be blocked entirely. Delete item just deletes it. Again, it could be a mistake. It could be a first strike. Remove report means it'll clear out the report if it was kind of a false positive. Unpublish, which you could do just unpublish it for now, and then maybe email the person or try and figure out a way to resolve it better. And then also you can send email to the person, and they will be able to respond that way if you want to be able to message them. And so it's pretty straightforward. Unpublishing, I think, would be the first step, but again, it's up to policy that will all be decided later. But that's how it's done. It's pretty easy. And it just takes a second, and there you are, and now it's unpublished. So that is basically how to do it. Now, so you want to see the unpublished things later, you can actually go to the content and find it and go from there. So that is sort of the back-end administrative portion. Now the next thing to go back to, hit view to kind of get your menu back, is how to edit some of the basic pages of the site. So anytime you go anywhere now, say to the About page, you will see that there is now both the view and the edit buttons. Now this holds true for all of the content around your state site. Any post, any page, anywhere you have complete control. So say you go to edit the About page node, you can change here. We currently are going to have the leadership in here. You could add that as a test. Everything throughout the whole state, like I said, will be completely editable to you at this point. There's the main pages right now. The community page is a little different. It's kind of a special page for, as we went over earlier, so that won't be editable, but things like going into someone's post, let's say, and if you want to edit or make any comments, we have to make some community guidelines, obviously, about what is appropriate for you to edit as a state editor, but the options, at least right there, is totally available to you. Same goes true for resources. You can be adding resources. We have been putting up some of the past calls on here. The new call system is going to be more in the sidebar, as you can see here, this little play button. In the future, our calls and things will be under events, but we figured we'd just bring some of the older events in here to the resources for now, just because we're on a deadline to launch here. But this is the kind of place, again, you can make any edits you want, and then go ahead and save them, save the changes. Obviously, keep everything in your same group audience. North Carolina is our test case this time, and I'm going to remove that. But this is, the main kind of state pages that people will find that you want to be editing. Now the same thing again is 12 seconds to try again. I got some security in here, but if you go to the state news pages as well, you can also edit any of the content. Again, these are only things you can do as leadership. One thing to do with images is you can, I have put up this faux image here, this chalkboard. I just Google image searched it, but you'll be able to choose a file and upload it, and we want to get as wide an image as possible because it's wider the better, but it will crop down to whatever size you've done. But depending on your computer level knowledge, you want to have an image probably over 100 kilobytes, which is pretty small, but it's still, you can't get like a tiny little picture because it will get all grainy and pixelated. We're actually getting a relationship with Shutterstock to get some default images that you guys will be able to select as well. To hit the various hot topic issues, so that way you won't have to be searching around for photos if you want to put up a news story. But again, it works basically the same. The preface is that section that's below. It's the kind of the byline, the subline. The news source is the title and source of the story, and then the news source logo again. If it's the New York Times or whatever, you just upload it there. This is not required. It's just more optional. And that's the news there. And events too. They are. I'll show you how to add them in a second, but you can go in and edit them. Edit where. Granted, most things will be online, but there's kind of the option to do everything. So you have your fake title. This is right now, but this will be the real title. You can add images and throw them in, so you can choose a file, upload it, and throw it into the body of the text if you want to give it some flavor. Give the start date, end date. Works pretty much like any Facebook event you'd ever have. We can put in the event recording. This is how we're going to put in the old recordings of our calls and things. And then there's also files, say that there's an agenda or something you want to attach. You can decide whether the location is physical, online, or both. I think I've defaulted it to online because that'll be the bulk of things. Again, a banner for the event. And then here's the registration settings if you want to make it so people can actually register. You can say whether the registration is on this site or on another site to kind of toggle whether or not people can click the attend button. Again, this is stuff that's all just in here for now. We're going to flesh it out later, but it's just kind of beginning to get some more advanced features so that we can start to use this site to its full potential. So the way to actually add an event to it and actually go over this yet is if you go to the community section. And in the future, I think I'll be adding something to the sidebar for state editors, but just for this beta week here, you can actually click to the right of the create a post on the community page, and you'll be presented with create a poll, create a post, ask a question, and then here list an event. So that's where you'll go to add your own calls or own meetups or whatever you're doing in your state. So that about does it for this initial tutorial. I will probably have more coming and more detailed things coming later on. Feel free to send me any questions or bugs. You'll have them, believe me. This is all a work in progress to Loren, Loren, at secular.org, and we will be sure to try and address them as quickly as we can. Again, have fun, go do stuff. Any fake content you see, like for instance, if you're the North Carolina people, Joe, if you're listening, we want to have edit and change the state news and the events to actually match or delete content so that any of the silly fake stuff is gone. So that way, when we actually get it on the site in a week, it's all good and relevant content. So with that, thanks so much, everyone, and we look forward to seeing what you do with the sites. Take care.